How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffled Rowlett, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some Pokemon rumors, so let's sit back, relax, and have ourselves a good time. So, first things first is a 4chan post, which, to be fair, there are not as many anymore as there used to be, but if you guys do find any of these, you can always send them to me on Discord, Twitter, or whatever. You guys can always go there and send these to me, but basically, here's what we're looking at. We've got a post here from someone saying Kalos Megas, and this was posted on the 9th, so about 5 days ago, and I don't know if I covered this one. I may have missed this one because, again, a lot of stuff was happening around the announcement date, and I was too crazy with, paying attention to everything. But yeah, basically, this person says, Unknown will play a role in certain megas in Pokemon Legends ZA. So, I don't know what he means by this, but like we do know one thing about Unknown, which is from the actual trailer, if you guys remember, from the Legends ZA website. If you watch the actual trailer, there was something interesting about specifically Pokemon, I guess Unknown in this case, because Unknown was in that trailer. So if you look up the Pokemon Presents, if we just search it up, we'll find the actual trailer, and I'm going to be able to show you the exact thing I'm referring to. Because there was this moment where Pikachu was chilling with some unknowns, and they said the following. This was this right here. They literally just said, see you, right? Like, this was a anagram for see you, right? Like, if you just move the end one here, like if you move the, the unknown at the end over here, and you change this letter and you put it like over here, or actually you just switch the position of these two, right, to type U. So if you just switch a few letters, you get CU. And it's a bit interesting that they would do that and have, the question mark, which, again, why? What was the point of this? I don't get it. It just seems so out of place. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. What was the point of it? But the fact that he says, rewatch the intro for the Legends ZA trailer, I guess he's also referring to exactly that, which, again, doesn't really tell me much. It doesn't really mean much in any way or shape or form. Like, it doesn't really, again, it doesn't tell me anything. However, what he does say, though, is the following. Mega Chestnut, grass fighting. Okay, personally, like I've said before, I'm totally on board for it, man. That actually sounds pretty sick. Apparently, Chestnut's body becomes larger and more robust with additional armor plating inspired by ancient Kalosian warriors. Its spikes grow longer, resembling spearheads. Ability Battle Armor, which, again, sounds pretty lit. Then Mega Delphox Fire Psychic. Now, Delphox's appearance becomes more mystical, which, with its robes blowing like flames, its staff transforms into a blazing scepter, reflecting its mastery of fire and psychic energies. Ability Magic Guard prevents indirect damage. And then Mega Greninja, Water Dark type apparently, which apparently Greninja's sleekness is emphasized with its body adorned in patterns. Its scarf elongates and appears to merge with its body, giving it the appearance of an optical illusion. You've already seen this hinted at in Gen 9. Ability Mystic Veil prevents status afflictions and ups evasion, which, ooh, okay, that's pretty solid, okay? It's pretty solid. But yes, again, so he's suggesting there's going to be 3 megas, and they're all going to be for the actual Kalos starters, and I don't know if this means that the Kalos starters would be the main starters, and we wouldn't actually get, Legends Arceus-related ones. I don't know. That's the feeling I get from this. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But that's at least the feeling I get from this. It's the vibe I'm feeling from this post. So I will leave it at that. I don't really know what else to say about it besides that. But again, interesting rumor. Again, I would love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on it in the comment section down below. Moving on, we have something a little bit different. Actually, we have Ogerpon cards, which I've confirmed now, which makes me think about the Pokemon TCG. Because there's one more thing that people seem to have forgotten about when it comes to Pokemon right now, and it's Pokemon Pocket, right? Like, Pokemon Pocket, trading card game Pocket, seems to be kind of forgotten. Like, people forgot this game is announced. I think only the people in the TCG have paid attention to it. But this game, I kind of want to make a whole video talking about it because it adds a little bit of an interesting situation to Pokemon. Now, you got to understand, Pokemon Pocket trading card game is made by Creatures. Now, Creatures are the people that actually designed the Pokemon cards, right? Now, there are 2 other Pokemon card video games. One of them is Pokemon TCG Live, and the other one is Pokemon Trading Card Game Online. And the problem with those 2 is those are made by the Pokemon Company. Not by Creatures, not by Game Freak, but by the Pokemon Company, which is on its own a kind of a unified company that's owned by Creatures, Game Freak, and of course, Nintendo, right? Those 3 have invested, ownership on that. And this game is supposed to be kind of a simplification, similar to a lot of, other card games you guys may have played, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, if you know what that is. And the interesting thing about this is, it seems like they want to have more control on it. It seems like the people who actually make the cards want to have more impact on it. And this game hasn't been spoken about by Game Freak either since the announcement now. We haven't actually seen, sorry, not Game Freak, but actually the Pokemon Company or anyone even Creatures hasn't said anything about it. They just announced it. They said 2024, iOS and Android, and that's it. There's not much else. They haven't really brought anything else up. So I do wonder what this could mean, and also how this game connects, because again, the TCG is currently in a weird spot. Like, the TCG's performance is down. I think Pokemon card games, cards still sell a lot, but the value of cards has dipped. And I think there's a great YouTuber who made a whole video about, like, the value of Japanese cards. Like, I don't know exactly what the guy's called. I do apologize. I don't want to, like, get their name wrong, but there was a YouTuber, again, I don't remember their name. I think it's OKJLove, and this person made a whole video all about, like, basically how the value of Japanese cards has gone down, which to me is really interesting because it also kind of gives you an idea of Pokemon right now. So you guys can see there's a video up here. I watched this like a while back now. I watched this video, but interestingly, he brings up the fact that the Japanese cards have dropped in value and other cards are being kind of like picked up more, which is kind of a good thing because it's bringing down the prices of Pokemon cards to a reasonable level for people who want to collect. But it also seems like the general interest in Pokemon cards has gone down, and it makes me wonder. We're about to get now Ogerpon. Once Ogerpon is done for, and they've done the Teal Mask cards and any of the Indigo Disc cards, what's next? Like, they can only make so many sets before they're going to run out of stuff to cover, which makes me still wonder if, because remember, the Pokemon TCG, the Pokemon games, and everything combined, it all works in synergy, right? Nothing is on its own separate. Like, everything works in synergy. If, for example, right, Miraidon just got released in Pokemon Unite. Why? Because Miraidon is from the most recent generation, right? It's a new Pokemon. And they will kind of keep dragging that out for a while until, you get something new to hype people up again. Pokemon Go released last year, middle of last year, they released the Gen 9 starter Pokemon in Pokemon Go, and so on and so forth. Like, all of these things kind of need to work in balance together. However, things are looking pretty slow this year. There needs to be an announcement for something this year, because every Pokemon year has to have at least one game in it. And I'm not talking about a mainline game like, red, blue, yellow, whatever. I'm talking about any Pokemon game. Now, I wonder if Pokemon TCG Pocket is the one game they're hoping is going to be popular enough this year. I just don't know, because it is still the TCG, and the TCG is more popular in physical form than it will ever be in a playable form. So I don't know if that's the only thing they're banking on, but literally the last time we had a gap year was in 2015. And that year, we still got a new Pokemon game. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. There was still a spin-off that released to keep people busy. But this time around, there's nothing. There's no spin-off games besides Pocket, Pokemon TCG Pocket. But that's the only thing. There's nothing else. That's it. So I do wonder what that means and where that could lead us. But again, definitely check out OKJLove. Freaking love this channel. I wasn't really into the TCG much, but I've been watching his videos. It's been getting me really into it. And I've been really enjoying it. I've even been learning how to play the TCG now from watching his videos. So definitely recommend it. However, there's something interesting. So there is a possibility of a hint here, but I don't think it really means anything. But it was from Bobbly20, who basically posted saying Pokemon Home is saying that Greninja has a third form that's not viewable in the Pokemon Home Pokedex on the mobile app. Mistake or possible future Mega form coming soon. Now, I don't really know about like Greninja when I think about it. Greninja has like the regular form, the shiny form, right? And then you have the Ash Greninja form. So unless they're referring to, he says, of course, the first one is the regular Greninja, obviously. The second form is Ash Greninja, but the third one, not viewable. Now, I don't know if they include, again, like I'm going to refresh the post in case somebody corrected it, but I don't know if they actually include shinies in Home, because I don't use Pokemon Home. I know a lot of you guys do, but I just don't care for it that much. I prefer keeping my Pokemon in the games that I play them in. I'd like the ability to be able to use it, but I just don't have a purpose for it right now. But again, interesting, nonetheless, and I'd love to know you guys' thoughts and opinions on it. Moving on to the next thing, though, which is this post right here. Now, this is from Many Face Impressions, so shout out to Many Face Impressions. I definitely should give them a follow. I don't know why I wasn't following them, but they made a whole thread that was specifically about, like, Legends ZA's trailer. And he said, okay, this thread time, since everyone is scared of Pokemon Legends ZA taking place in only Lumio City, okay, so here it goes. It takes place on a time where the region is being built from the ground up, almost an industrial revolution of era of time. So way past the Hisui time. From the trailer, you're viewing what the city is going to be in the eyes of the creators. It's blueprints of the city in a journal. And the video is showing you the modern-day Lumios because it's what the creators of that time want their city to become. A place where people and Pokemon can live together. So, of course, we do have that whole, like, sketch and everything. And I talked about this in a previous video, which you guys should check out. I think it's from yesterday. But, again, nice connections. Moving on, though. He says, the video is showing you modern-day Lumio City, right? Which is true. Nothing too crazy there. It actually makes total sense, right? It's, you know, it's showing you the modern version of it. In the trailer is, again, showing you a world with Pokemon and people living together and all that jazz. So the point of this game, similar to Arceus, is you helping construct the foundation of the city, but in a more literal sense. This is a development plan. Actually, it's called redevelopment. It's not a development plan, meaning this is about the creation of a city made for people and Pokemon alike. So Pokemon are still going to be able be all over the place, just in certain spots. Not sure what they're going to be doing, though, but I'm sure they know what they're doing. But yeah, so the reason you're confined to this one area isn't because Game Freak hates you, so relax. If anything, it's a good thing we're confirmed to one spot so the graphics can look cleaner, but they have something cooking up, and I think it's going to be building from scratch. Which, yes, I am very intrigued to see how that's going to turn out. But again, I do want to know, again, the whole debate about this game is literally going to be laid to rest the moment they show us a gameplay trailer, because right now, we don't know. Is the game set in the past, in the future? It's all theories. Moving on, though, a cool concept here from one of our fans, Fion, or one of our viewers, who said, hey, yo, check this out. I'm guessing these three for the starters made some French Revolution-themed regional forms for them, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get something very different. And he made this, like, design here. A new trio of starter Pokemon: Superior Grass Poison, Blaziken Fire Normal, and Empoleon Water Ice, based on a Noble, a Revolutionary, and a Gendarme from 18th century France. I think it's more likely that this game is going to be set in the pretty recent times, or maybe the future, so I might try to make a futuristic version as well, which again would be cool, because somebody else did make another version of this too, because we have these two, we have these here, and we also have this concept here, from Sora, who said, Pokemon Legends ZA Collision starters, sketch, which typing abilities and signature moves would you give them? And then these look pretty solid, I'm not gonna lie. These all look really cool, man. But again, it's just a concept right now, and again, I would love to know what you guys think about the starters, because the most likely scenario could be this little hint that people think was left behind, where basically you have one fire type in the trailer for Indigo Disc, you know, basically one typing of each type matched up with the Hisuian starter. So basically, in the trailer, they show Cyndaquil together with Torchic, could be a hint. They show Oshawott with Piplup, which could be a hint. And they show Rowlet with Snivy, which could be a hint. Now, how is this a hint? Well, basically because Cyndaquil was a starter Pokemon in Hisui, Oshawott was a starter Pokemon in Hisui, and Rowlet was a starter Pokemon in Hisui. So it could be that Snivy, Piplup, and Torchic are going to be the actual starter Pokemon in Legends ZA. At least that's based on the theory, which, again, I think is pretty clever if that's what they actually ended up doing, because I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to be honest. I think it's pretty lit. Moving on to another thing, though, from the trailer, which is that PLA-style catching is more or less confirmed, as we can see right here, the character kind of throwing their ball right at the Pokemon without even battling the Dragonair. He says PLA-style catching is back, crouching and dodging most likely as well. Lumios Maps shows some areas with trees and paths. Remaining 4 plazas look like cleared spaces. Would be returned to Colosseum style, where Pokemon are gathered from other trainers, or a small wild area. I think there's going to be smaller wild areas instead. I think that's the most logical path for them to go in, and at least that's where my theorizing on that ends. Then we also had this from Kayla Capsule, who says, this is at the end of the Legends ZA trailer, right before the logo. It's green plus amber. Just green, then full screen green, and then green going off screen. If you watch that part, you'll see what they're talking about. So it's a bit of green plus amber, right? Like you see right here. You guys can see. It's a little bit of green and amber in the corner, right? Then it switches to just green, right? Fair enough. Then it goes to a top part here with black, like green and then black. A fully green screen. Then it goes off screen, like the actual green like color, it disappears. It's as if it's something in front of the camera, like a creature of sorts is in front of the camera and it disappears, right? Like it's a blurry image of a creature. Then you have a little bit of stuff on the sides. But again, what does the amber represent? And there was actually a kind of cool concept here from someone. This was from Matty, who said, I was seeing this from the anime and from other posts, but it looks like it could be the infinite/awakened form, which, yes, it could be this version of Zygarde, which could be represented by the little amber part right here, like the little red that we see. Could be that part right there is represented by literally this, right? This is what it's supposed to be hinting at, which could be true, could be what they do. They might actually have it in this game, which honestly, I'm all on board for, man. I think that'd be pretty sick, pretty lit, bro, if you ask me. Moving on, though, we have this right here, which is from Jumbo, who says, OMFG, the Z-axis goes up and down, which means if it's entirely set in Lumios, we can likely travel underneath the city into the catacombs, which, yes, again, keep in mind, X and Y go in either direction, right? Like, you know, kind of like in these directions, right? Like this, you know, like, you know, left and right, so to say. Kind of don't really know what way to put it. But the Z-axis goes up and down, right? So X and Y-axis, you know, back and forth, left and right. Z-axis, up and down, right? That's literally what it does. Like up and down Z-axis, X-axis up, you know, back and forth. Y-axis, left and right. Z-axis, up and down. Pokemon Z might be sending us down into the catacombs. And I don't really want to look at this too much because it's a bit disturbing. But basically, the catacombs are a thing in Paris, and I've talked about this in a few videos already, but catacombs are literally a massive amount of tunnels underneath, you know, underneath the city of Paris, which just stretch for miles and miles and miles. And those tunnels are not even all charted. So it could be interesting because they've already done this. Masuda actually used the catacombs of Paris for the glistening cave, I think, in X and Y. He actually uses that inspiration, and he confirmed that he used it as inspiration previously. So why not use that same thing as inspiration now to make a whole underground city part for Lumio City, which would expand the city and give us more stuff to do? At least that's the way I look at it. Then we also have this right here, which is from Cobalt, and he said, I think that Pokemon ZA's logo strongly resembles the alchemy symbol of Blanc d'Esponge, right? Now, this symbol is associated to the albedo phase, the purification of matter. It's said to represent rebirth, and that its purpose is the creation of an elixir of long life. Sound familiar? Again, it does sound very familiar. It sounds very similar to all the AZ stuff. And of course, he's talking about the logo here, the Z and the A, right? If you look here, the Z and A, literally exactly the same thing. Like, that's the exact same thing, man. Even the logo looks exactly like that. Like, that's such a on-the-nose, like, thing. In alchemy, albedo, or leucosis is the second of the 4 major stages of magnum opus, along with, you know, I'm not going to read that one. You know, this is Bonogees. It's a Latinized term meaning whiteness, following the chaos or massa confusa of the, well, I'm not going to say that. The alchemist undertakes a purification in albedo, which is literally referred to as ablutio. The washing away of impurities. This phase is concerned with bringing light and clarity to the prime materia. Which, again, really weird way to put it, but again, it does look like that alchemic symbol. And Pokemon has used alchemy a lot in their stuff, and he does say, like, down here, the Pokemon X and Y and ORAS are built around a lot of symbols in the theme of alchemy, the Azoth project. And I think it would be a nice touch to hide that in the Legends ZA logo. What do you think? And of course, he's talking about the you know, the ultimate weapon of sorts, the triquetra, from the Latin adjective triquetra, three-cornered, is a triangular figure composed of 3 interlaced arcs, or equivalently 3 overlapping, can't really read that, lens shapes. It is used as an ornamental design in architecture, and it's a medieval manuscript illumination. Its depiction as a interlaced is common in insular ornaments from about the 7th century. In this interpretation, the triquetra represents the topologically simplest possible knot, so literally a knot that you tie. But again, just connecting all these things, all these dots together, I think that's what's being happening here. Now, Azoth is a universal remedy or potent solvent sought after in the realm of alchemy. And again, they talk about Azoth, Project Azoth in ORAS as well. So again, the point here is they do make a lot of alchemical connections and alchemical references. And it could be that they're referring to this thing right here, which, if you think about it, if it's referring to the Blanc d'Esponge, if that's literally what it's referring to, in alchemy, this would be literally, I guess, like, I guess in some way, ZA is supposed to be like a representation of, as far as I can understand, chaos being purified, right? Like the chaos of a new Pokemon, whatever that new Pokemon could be, being purified of sorts. That's the way I'm looking at this, at least. Like, maybe I'm misinterpreting it, but I will say what I say. So it is what it is. Also, we had this from Ace Trainer Basso, who said, in case you don't go through all the notifications, here's what I sent. And basically what he said is, wait, the Paldea wasn't a map, it was Naranja Academy. And I think he's referring to this picture right here, which I guess he's trying to say that maybe Riddler-Ku, if you guys do not know who Riddler-Ku is a legitimate leaker who has been correct 99% of the time and recently been a little bit incorrect. But basically, he's referring to the fact that in one of Ku's posts, he had a picture of the Unova map, this picture right in front of us, and then a picture of Kanto and Johto. That's the picture he had. And I think what he's trying to say here is that, hey, that picture was the picture of Paldea was referring to Lumio's tower, which I don't know if that's the case, but I digress. He's trying to make the connection, right? Like, this is the connection he's trying to make. And then also he made another post here saying, in theory crafting, where he said that it is possible, again, just a theory, that maybe the story might have something to do with dealing with NIMBYs. Now, NIMBYs, I think, as far as I'm aware, NIMBYs are basically people who live in an area of a city that don't want new buildings to be built, and these are people that live in those places and have a lot of say over what can and can't be built. And basically, those people limit development of new housing, right? New housing development. He's saying it could be something to deal with NIMBYs. They're probably going to hate a new ugly tower sticking out of the city, like some sort of giant well. Yeah. It also might be built around... Oh my god. That was terrifying. I just had Siri answer me in the middle of the video. Also, might be built around the old unfunny joke about time traveling to an early 20th century to guess who in the Pokemon is heavily inspired by the good old to the point they named the communication device a holocaster. Yep, Lysander. Now, I don't know if that's the case. It would be really weird if we time travel to end Lysander. That doesn't seem necessary, in my opinion. It just seems a bit unnecessary because people already stopped him, so what's the point? I don't know if that would be a connection. Again, I just wanted to share this because it's fan theories. Then finally, I want to talk about this right here. Now, this is the actually most interesting one, which is Pokemon Game Studio wants to make more non-Pokemon games. And this is posted back in February of 2023, so this is over a year ago at this point. And this was a post where they said, the renowned Pokemon studio Game Freak is committed to making more non-Pokemon games. Even if that's gotten more challenging, Masao Taya, director of the studio's newest release, Pocket Card Jockey Ride On, tells Axios, driving the news, Ride On, a fun game that somehow successfully mixes virtual horse racing with solitaire, was recently released for the Apple Arcade subscription service. The original Pocket Card Jockey was released a decade ago for the Nintendo 3DS, where it was another cult hit in the line of non-Pokemon Game Freak standouts like 2005's Drill Dozer or 2012's Harmonite. The new version updates graphics and stuff. Now, what are they saying? In recent years, the resources needed for game development have grown and grown. So, Development Department 1 has been trying out a style of development where it works with external studios, he says. So, this has actually been confirmed that, yes, Game Freak literally outsources a lot of their work. They actually send a lot of their work over to other studios and other people. They don't actually make a lot of stuff in-house, which, yeah. Now, Game Freak's core team turns out Pokemon games on a nearly annual basis, and as such games have become increasingly graphically complex, requiring more resources in the process. For Ride On, Game Freak partnered with studios Infinity Loop, Co., and Pixida, both of which have worked with the studios over the past decades, Taya says. And then they talk about what's next. Game Freak isn't announcing more games yet. Taya indicates that the studio isn't done with Ride On. And apparently, they're taking feedback. So, again, this adds like a weird thing where they are definitely working on more, like, they are definitely working on non-Pokemon stuff. We know they're working on an action RPG. Like, there's also some, like, new trademark they did, which is called Pand. Pand World or something like that. Pand World, not Panda World, like Pand World. So they are working on non-Pokemon projects, which does take time away from Pokemon projects, but nonetheless, they do have multiple departments that work on stuff. And like I said, they do outsource a lot of stuff as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much going to summarize today's video. I don't really know much else to talk about in this one. I think that's going to be it. So thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you all guys in the next one. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.